أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We are going to read Surah 37, and we're going to read 61 verses tonight. And here you go, Monica, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. By the arrangers and rows, and those who assign culpability, and those who recite the reminder, proclaiming that surely your God is one, Lord of the vacua and matter, and everything between them, and Lord of all locations of sunrise. We have indeed adorned the lowest vacuum with splendid planets, and there is a guard against every rebellious devil. They cannot eavesdrop on the high society, and they will be bombarded from every direction, rejected, and for them there is a continuous suffering. As for the one who snatches away something secretly, he will be pursued by a powerful projectile. Therefore ask them, are they more difficult to create than all we have created? Indeed, we created them from sticky mud. While you are in awe, they are mocking. And when they are reminded, they do not take heed. And when they see a sign, they mock. And they say, this is nothing but clear magic. When we die and become dust and bones, will we be resurrected, also our forefathers? Say definitely, and you will be forced. Then it will be a single blow while they are waiting. They will say, woe to us, this is the day of faith. This is the day of reckoning that you used to deny. Summon the unjust together with their spouses and what they used to worship besides God. Then lead them to the path of the inferno. Stop them. Indeed, they will be asked, why did you not help each other? No way. On that day, they will strive for peace. And they turn to one another wondering. They say, indeed, you were the ones who came to us acting so holy. They say, no, you, yourselves, were not faithful. And we had no power over you. No, it was you who were transgressing people. Now our Lord's promise has been fulfilled for us. We indeed have to taste it. We misled you because we were indeed misled ourselves. Therefore, surely on that day they all share in the suffering. We thus deal with the guilty. This is indeed because when they were told there is no God except God, they turned arrogant. And they say, should we abandon our gods for the sake of a crazy poet? On the contrary, he has brought the truth and he has confirmed the messengers. You will surely endure the painful suffering, and you will be repaid exactly for what you did. Exempted are God's servants who are devoted purely to him. For them there is a specific provision. There will be fruits and they will be honored in blissful paradises. On luxurious furnishings they will be neighbors. They will be readily served with a cup filled with from a pure spring. Clear drinks with delicious taste for the drinkers, never polluted and never runs out. And beside them will be beautiful companions. They are like a protected egg. As they turn to one another wondering, one of them says, indeed, I used to have a friend. He used to say, are you really telling the truth that when we die and become dust and bones, we will be held accountable? He said, do you wish to take a look? Once he looks, he sees in the midst of the inferno. He sees him in the midst of the inferno. He said, by God, you almost averted me. If it were not for the blessings of my Lord, I would have been definitely there. Do you still maintain that we never die, that we only die once, and we will never suffer? This is truly the greatest triumph. For the likes of this, every worker shall work.
Okay. Thank you, mashallah. Very good. Okay. Okay, the floor is open for discussions or questions or comments. Any questions? Welcome, Salam Shakira. Yes, go ahead, please.
The surah, all of it, as what we have read, it's actually talking about something that, on the day of resurrection.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it's explaining very clearly exactly what's going to happen and how the punishment will be and how will it be for the people who did the right thing. So it's so amazing that all of this is there, that people just read it and gloss over it and don't even pay attention to what can happen to them if they don't do the right thing.
Yes.
And
indeed. As I was saying today, that when we are reading a lot of verses in the Quran, we look at those verses through a lens of this worldly life, physical life, and things that are important to them physically takes precedent over the spiritual aspect of our lives. And that's why unhappiness actually comes in. So when God says fasting is the best for you if you only knew, we are thinking of betterment of our physical being and our physical health and physical prowess and everything that you want to call it, okay, and physical beauty and everything. That's what we think of. We are not thinking of that fasting is actually grows our soul. So the spiritual aspect of it is completely forgotten. So when you talk about this, when Quran talks about these things that ought to happen, they are looking at it through a lens of this physical universe, and they are completely ignoring this. It's just, to them, it's a fable. It's just something which is tales from the past. That's never going to happen to them. So that's why there is not a good grasp of this, And by God's grace, we are learning that we have to look at these verses from a lens of which gives us a wider and a broader picture of the entire thing that God is trying to tell us. And so that's why I was talking about it today, that it's important to look at it that way. When God is talking about it that way, then it becomes clear to us that, oh my God, the entire day I'm thinking about God. I am remembering God. Okay, my mind is occupied by thoughts of God. Okay, so those are the type of things that actually saves us. Those are the things that are good for us. Those are the things that are best for us, and that's what God is telling us.
Yes,
I'm just trying to say this, that this doesn't preclude the fact that it is physically also good for you. Okay, that's a different thing. Okay, but my point was today, and I'm saying it right now too, is that it has a much broader picture to it that we have been ignoring. Okay, we're just looking at one aspect of it, and we are not looking at the total picture. What the total picture is. The total picture has the spiritual component to it, which is really the most important thing.
Yes, you're absolutely right. You said something. This time the mathematics showed many things that actually added to the previous one, right? Because we were going to Surah 1, and as you said, it has 7 verses and 17, this and 159 and 29, and then 9, 1 to 7. And now we have come to a point where we actually understand it through 1820 to 698. Basically, how they are connected to 9127 and then 24434, having all those things. And what came to my mind was that maybe the mathematics will finally reveal that the whole Quran is being recited in the real pure Quran. We are reciting it when we are doing Al-Fatiha in the right way. We just are touching small bits and pieces right now. Is that okay to say?
Well, what I was trying to say today, that this actually adds to the importance of the contact prayers. Okay.
Yes.
And so that is what's important. And so I said this today. Okay, that if you look at, let me see, let me just, chapter 96. Okay. Chapter 96, which is the first surah that was revealed, okay, and God is talking to us about this, and then He says that, do you see the one who forbids a servant of God from praying? This is 96:9. Okay, I just read 96:9. Do you see the one who forbids a servant of God from praying? Okay. Is it not better if he were guided or advocated righteousness? Okay. Do you see the one who rejects and ignores? Does he not realize that God can see? Absolutely, unless he refrains, we will indeed take him by the forelock of a liar, a wrongdoer. Therefore, let him call for help. We will summon the guardians of hell. Absolutely do not obey him and fall prostrate and come closer. Okay? So this entire thing, there's a lot of people who are trying to forbid you from praying. They don't want you to do the contact prayers. They want to cancel it. Okay? Remember now, this happened in chapter 19, verse 59. He said then there was another group of people who replaced them, and what they did was they actually lost the contact prayers. And they follow the lust. Okay? So this is again of that. But the thing is, verse 19, absolutely do not obey him. Okay? And fall prostrate and come closer. And so we saw the benefits of it today, mathematically, that actually those numbers were talking to us. So by the time that you do your Asha prayers, okay, which is night when there is no twilight anymore, you do that right before you go to bed right now, okay? So it's getting later and later because of the way that God has designed the universe and the solar system. So anyway, by that time, you are basically going through those 18, 20 verses that the Word God has been mentioned. And from that 18, 20, you actually derive the fact that there are 2,698 mention of Word God in the Quran, okay? And then it comes back to tell you that yes, it has Surah 9 has 127 verses. So no matter how you look at it, this is what you do, and when God says they are doing it willingly or unwillingly, they are falling prostrate to God, but they don't know it. See? Even people who don't believe in this, when they do this 17 rakah 2, 4, 4, 3, 4, they are doing the same thing. See that? By the force of mathematics, they are doing the same thing. But they're opposing it. They're opposing the thing that they are actually uttering themselves. And that is amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
Yes, it is.
What else can I say? I mean, just think about it a little bit, okay? So that's what he says. God says, don't you see that everything in the vacuum and matter prostrates to God, willingly or unwillingly? That is amazing. They are doing it, but they are doing it unwillingly. Yeah.
That's very true. When you go back to these verses that God has actually sent to us, you realize that your body becomes more important than your soul. So this body is more important to the people. That's why they are actually considering the physical aspect of the Ramadan. See, because they give so much importance to this body, which is just a garment. And it's temporary and it's going to be gone. And the body itself doesn't think like that. The body is completely, totally devoted to God. But we don't understand things. And so we keep on doing wrong things, and God keeps telling us. And actually the mathematics proves to us that we must concentrate on our souls rather than the body. That Ramadan is one way of us realizing it, that we are actually feeding the soul. We are not always going to feed the body. Of course, we are still feeding the body anyway, but to look after the soul and grow that soul is not a priority when they have a pain, they cough, they have something, any problem. It's all in their body. So they are one with the body, and that's how and that's why God sent so many things, sent messengers, sent all these beautiful things to make you understand, be happy, and see that there's an eternity out there that is not like this at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fazely.
Thank you. Okay. Any other comments or discussions or observations?
Salam, Dr. Fazely.
Alaikum salam. Yes, Maryam, go ahead, please.
The verse 2 about 3, about assigning culpability. What is it exactly? Those who assign.
Let me go back. Yeah. Okay, all right. These are the guys who are writing things down. Remember, Kiraman Katibin, Ya'lamuna ma taf'alun. Okay, so these are the ones that are recording everything, and so there are some of those things that you are culpable for, and it's being written down. They're assigning all these things that we do. See, as a matter of fact, it's that verse that I just said to you. Okay, that. It says that Kiraman Katibina Ya'lamuna ma taf'alun. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, which is very important. Taf'alun wa ta'lamun are two different things. Okay?
Correct.
Ta'malun means something that you do on purpose. Taf'alun, everything you do.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
Either purposefully or not purposefully. During the day you do a lot of things that, just mundane things that you do. Those are also recorded too. Everything is recorded. That's what those Kiram and Katibin, these are honorable recorders. Okay, so this is what these guys do. Okay, if you do something wrong or you're culpable for doing something, it's written down, it's recorded.
Okay, so I guess I got a little bit confused by culpability, but actually it's everything. I mean, it might be good, it might be bad. So okay,
yeah.
And Dr. Fazely, what is your understanding of high society? Al-Mala'u al-A'la, high society. You translate it as such.
I mean, the way that I do this in my own mind. Okay, so it may be wrong, but the way I do it is that the jinns or the descendants of Satan are one lower below us. So this so-called, if you have universe, then you have an underverse. Okay? Mm-hmm. And so within that underverse, everything would be over that. So that would be A'la, which is higher. Mm. Okay? So that's how I think about it. It's kind of difficult to visualize it that way. Okay. But,
right. Thank you so much. It's thank you for sharing. It's always interesting to hear. Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Fazely.
Okay. Anything else? Any other comments or questions, observations, any discussions? as we were discussing about these things, okay, these are the most vivid way that God can actually explain it for us, that how good things could be on one hand, depending on what your actions in this world are going to be, and then on the other hand, how bad it's going to be if we do otherwise. It means that we do things that are not liked and approved by God. So it's and all of these things that you see, this sort of gory detail of hell and the suffering that we are going to have. So that if you think about it as perdition, means that you have continuous suffering and continuous pain and agony and punishment. It's all of this is done because people would not have any excuse on the day of judgment. That if you knew it was this bad, we wouldn't have done this. Okay, so give us another chance. Even though still that they're going to say, give us another chance. But the chance is here. The chance is every day. As I was saying today, that we go to sleep and we wake up in the morning and we're given the same chance with the same tests and the same kind of answers that we know. We know the answers to those tests, and purposefully we are actually ignoring them. We are putting sort of the wrong choice, and we make the wrong choice in those multiple choice questions, so to speak, if you will. So we actually purposefully putting the wrong answer there, and that's what really God has given us a chance again the next day. Say, look, don't do this. Use your brain and try to control yourself, control your desires, and control this urge that you have to do bad. Okay, and that's what the idea is, that especially during this month, as I said, that we have to be on our best behavior and make sure that we are not doing anything that God is not wants us. He does not want us to do. Okay, and that's very important. That to make Him happy, as happy as possible. So all of this is to please God. Anything? Any other questions, comments, or observations? Again, in these verses here, like from 12 on, it says that, or 11, it says, therefore ask them, are they more difficult to create than all we have created? Indeed, we create them from sticky mud. Okay? So the Genesis has gone through that God has created things from nothing. Okay? And then the question is that all of these things that God has created is less than their own creation. And God says, we have created them from sticky mud. So that means that we basically did not go through that, that process of Genesis, which is from nothing. We came from sticky mud, which is a really bad thing. Okay, it's terrible. Okay. If you become muddy or something, you go wash yourself or, wash your hands or something. And you don't want to have mud on your face. But anyway, so that's how lowly we are. And so God is reminding us of that. He says, while you're in awe, they are mocking. Okay. So we go through this business of presenting this to people. And we're at awe. I'm at awe. Every time I see any of these things, it's so beautiful, and it is so revealing as far as the God's message is actually to us is concerned. Okay, that how beautiful this whole thing is, and then by that He actually opens our eyes and our minds and our hearts to these verses, that we understand these verses now much better in a much bigger picture. Okay, our horizon has really broadened, so we can actually see things that we did not pay attention to, and we were not privy to those kind of information before that we are now today. Okay. So here it says that, and when they're reminded, they do not take heed. Okay, so you try to remind somebody, and they don't care. Okay, because again, this whole physical universe and their own physical being is taking precedent over everything else. All of those other spiritual aspects of life has been completely ignored. But if you think about it, for happiness, for true happiness, that's what you need. You need spiritual happiness. You need to be at peace. Okay? And that's what God wants to give us. And we're rejecting it. Okay? And when they see a sign, they mock. Okay? So they don't care. Thing is a joke. This whole thing is a joke. It's not a joke, okay? This is a serious business, and God is warning us about it. And they say, this is nothing but clear magic. It's nothing but you're basically a magician. You're doing this, and that's it. Okay? So if you talk about this or something, you say, oh, well, you're good with numbers. Okay? You're a number guy. Okay? As I said, all of those people who do that, they can actually balance their checkbook better than I do. All of those people who are laughing at these things, they can balance their checkbook a lot better than I do. As a matter of fact, I'm really ignorant as far as that's concerned. I can't do that. So anyway, and then they say when we die and become dust and bones, will be resurrected, also our forefathers? Again, this question comes up. This question that now actually it's basically a very meaningless and really silly question to ask this. The time that we are doing cloning and we are doing all kinds of stuff, okay? They even have now meat from the mammoth elephant that you get from the DNA of these mammoth elephants, and you basically grow that meat, and you can mix it with some other beef or something like that, and you have this burger, which is a mixture of those mammoth elephant and the cow that you have the hamburgers usually from. But all of these things are being done today, and then they're asking the silly question, and it goes on today, right now. Okay. Say definitely, and you will be forced. Is this something which is going to be done? It is going to be done. And you have no option in this. Then it will be a single blow while they're waiting. So this is that blow of day of judgment, of the end of the world, of the end of this universe as we know it. Okay? And they will say, woe to us, this is the day of faith. That's the day of reckoning. This is the day of reckoning that you used to deny. This is when all those records are going to be open. Summon the unjust together with their spouses and what they used to worship besides God, then lead them to the path of the inferno. And so all of these things, again, as I said, is that so in gory detail of how this process is going to actually proceed and how bad it's going to be, and the destination that they're going to end up, which is this, God is called it Inferno, Gehenna, all kinds of things that really is a place of suffering and continuous pain and agony and insult and belittling and all kinds of things. So this is an humiliation and all kinds of things. So that's what God is telling us. And stop them indeed, they will be asked, why do you not help each other? Okay. These are the same people who were together here, okay? They did all kinds of nasty things. Okay, and they helped each other to do nasty things. On that day they can't help each other. Now they're going back as individuals. Okay. No way. On that day we'll strive for peace. Now we understand we have to be at peace now. We have to be at peace with the entire God's creation. It's too late. You objected every chance you got. You didn't like it. You didn't like the way that God was running the show. They turn to one another wondering. They say, indeed, you were the ones who came to us acting so holy. They say, no, you yourself were not faithful. Okay? So you see, people of Pharaoh, they followed Pharaoh because they were wicked people. They like to listen to lies. They don't want to hear the truth. If somebody lies to them, they like that because they are liars too. So people of Pharaoh were following Pharaoh because they were just like him. The believing Egyptian was not following Pharaoh. Okay, he knew better. He was right there with the rest of those guys. But the ones who were following him, those guys were the ones who were bad people, they were wicked people, they were depraved. Those guys, they actually are this group of people that know you were the ones who were bad. And so then he said we had no power over them. Pharaoh had no power over the believing Egyptians. Okay? Even when he wanted to kill the magicians after they believed, okay, the magicians told him, you only have this worldly power. We go back to our God. We don't have to worry about it. So he had no power over them. Listen, that's what they say. We had no power over you. No, it was you who were transgressing people. So you were just like us. That's what you like. Are there any questions, any comments, any observations? So therefore, surely on that day, all share in the suffering. So Pharaoh and his elders and all those people who were so eager to help him and to follow him, they all share in the agony, and all the suffering is going to be divvy up amongst them. Okay, and we thus deal with the guilty. This is indeed because they were told there is no God except God. Okay, so it says that La ilaha illallah. Then they turn arrogant. Okay. So if I go to chapter 39, this becomes clear. 39, verse 45. Okay. It says, and when God alone is mentioned, La ilaha illallah, then the hearts of those who do not believe in the hereafter sicken. But when others are mentioned besides him, they rejoice. They wanted something else next to La ilaha illallah. They didn't like that phrase by itself. They were unhappy. Their heart was sort of squeezed and was bent out of shape. Okay, they were sick to the stomach. They were waiting for something else. So they wanted something else, and that something else, when that something else was mentioned, that person was mentioned next to God, they all rejoiced. So that's what God is telling us about that. So they were, when they were said La ilaha illallah, they turned arrogant. It wasn't enough for them. They didn't want to hear it. So you see, now what that does actually, that goes back to the original audience that we had with God. Remember 7:172? Am I not your Lord? And we all said, yes, we bear witness that you are. So we actually said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah at that time. So when we do this, when we turn arrogant here because of la ilaha illallah, then we have a problem, and that problem is going to be with us until the day of judgment. And then after that, obviously, nothing good is going to happen. So we go actually against our own teaching, against our own genetic makeup, against our own body, which is submitting to God. So we are in a really bad shape at that time. Okay, so then they brought all kinds of excuses. Then they say, should we abandon our God for the sake of a crazy poet? On the contrary, he has brought the truth, and he has confirmed the messengers. You will surely endure the painful suffering. So God keeps warning them that, don't basically kill the messenger. The messengers bring you this news and this thing, and that's what they want to do. Call them a crazy poet. Because to them, this sounded like poetry. And God keeps telling us in the Quran that this is not poetry. So, examples are God's servants who are devoted purely to Him. There is no impurity in the belief, in the devotion to God. Is absolutely devoted to Him. And so again, our worship, our acts of worship that we do during the day, contact praise, now we do the fasting this month. Okay, these have to be specifically and purely devoted to God. That has to be our goal and our understanding and our way of life during this month and beyond. Okay. Okay. Any comments? Any questions? Any observations? Okay, very good. So we'll quit for tonight then, okay? And then we'll hear from you, inshallah, next week.